Welcome back. So if you didn't watch my previous video, I purchased this 23-year-old Suzuki as a non-runner. In this video you are going to see why it didn't run and how I transformed this bike into the best 23-year-old Suzuki 750 on the road today. Yeah, about that. It kinda had a flat battery, so we stuck that on charge. And now I'm going to take all the fairings off because I want to see what is behind this jelly mold. This model did used to be referred to as a jelly mold because it does actually look like a mold for making jelly. So all the fairings come off lovely. You can tell that this has been really well looked after because all the bolts have copper slip on. Right, so the plugs are coming out so I can check the compression. Firstly, I want to get all the debris out. So I stole Jodie's vacuum cleaner. Sorry, Joe. So here we have reason number one why this bike didn't run very nicely. A cracked spark plug. Right, let's get the compression tester out. We're going to test each cylinder. First one fine, second one fine, third one fine, and we are reaching around 150 to 175 psi on all cylinders, which I am extremely happy with and is what to be expected on a vehicle with this engine size. So the carbs come off, remove the throttle cables, and look at that, perfect piece of engineering, very rare to see these days, just not so popular with Greta Thunberg.
Blah 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 blah.
Right, let's get these on the bench and strip them down. Some people shy away from these and find them very daunting to take apart, but they're not actually that bad until you come across a stubborn screw, but a little gentle persuasion. I managed to ease that screw out. Here we can see a lot of debris in there. Number two reason why this bike did not run very nicely. You can see all the parts laid out there, and we have a new fitting kit with O-rings and some jets there. I did forget to film the cleaning part, but they've all been nice and clean, and we'll put them back together. As I said, new O-rings, give that a good old clean. This whole job took me about 4 hours from start to finish. Time consuming, but I did enjoy it. I'm going to use a little bit of Loctite here because that screw could come loose, and it did have Loctite on when I took it out, so I'm going to put some Loctite on when I put it back in. Nice new rubber seal there. The old ones were so perished they just broke as I took them out. Just screwing the bowl down there nice and evenly. Carefully putting the diaphragm back in. And the little O-ring at the top there, and a big old spring. Push that down evenly. Make sure you don't pinch the diaphragm. And through the magic of editing, they are all back together and clean. If only it was that easy in real life. But look at that. Beautiful. I'm so happy with how these turned out. And there's all the old parts. You can see the O-rings all perished and broken. You'd never put them back again. They would never run right and it would leak. So let's drain that disgusting fuel that's been sitting in this tank. We'll actually capture it and see what's in the bottom of this tank. I'll take out the fuel tap here just so I can get it out easier. There is a filter in here as well, which I will clean. As you can see that here. I'm just using a bit of barbecue lighter fluid there and a bit of parts cleaner. Giving it a good old rinse, shake it out. So I used the parts cleaner on the bottom there, and I've got some anti-corrosion from Muck Off. It's a bit like spray wax really. Spray that underneath and give this a good old clean with some parts cleaner. Look at all that debris in there. It's all like bits of sand. I don't know how that got in there. Just chipping it out there and capturing it just so I can have a look. Look at that gunk. No wonder it didn't run very nice. Right, there was a screw missing out of the choke slider, so I've got a new screw, bit of Loctite on that, and it's nice and free. Look at that, lovely. While I'm here, got the fairings off, I'm going to give it a clean with parts cleaner and a bit of silicone shine. Look at that. just like new. Right, so it's now time to put the carburetors back on the engine. Put the throttle cables on there, a little bit fiddly. And I've also brought a new inline fuel filter because I do not want these carburetors getting gunked up again. Nice and easy. Install the airbox, clean up the old spark plugs and replace the broken, cracked spark plug. So I'm now tightening the plugs because when I got this they wasn't even tight. Put the brakes back on there. Kept all the bolts in a nice pot so I know where everything goes. I've also brought a new rubber for the rear brake because that was missing. And a new air filter as well because the other one was all rusty. They go a bit fiddly but they got there in the end. Connect the fuel tank and fingers crossed. And she fires up beautifully. Get the engine nice and warm. And now I'm just balancing the carbs. It was a long process so I speed it up here. And as you can see, I am all done and they are almost spot on. It will be almost impossible to get these bang on, but I am happy with that and it was a lot better than it was. Right, now it's time to finally get the tank on. Get all the vacuum hoses in there. Make sure nothing's pinched. Plug the fuel gauge in. And start her up. Sounds beautiful and starts on the button. Right, now time for an oil change. I'll leave it running, get the engine nice and warm. Trying very carefully not to burn my fingers. Time to dump all the oil out. You'll notice that the oil is very thin. Because the carburetors were blocked, fuel was going into the cylinders and filling up the engine oil. Time for some nice fresh oil. This holds 3.3 litres. Put it about halfway, start it up. Check for any leaks. Bone dry nice. Turn it off, wait a couple of minutes and recheck the oil. Put a little bit more in, I end up putting about 3.5 litres in this. Time to put the panels back on. There we go. All I have to do now is put the new tyres on it, clean the brakes and get an MOT on this thing. Right, these are the tyres I'm putting on. Batlax BT023. This is a really cheap tyre lever set I bought from Amazon. Would not recommend. This job was absolutely awful. Next time I will pay someone to fit these tyres. Without the right equipment, it's just a nightmare. Do not do this. As you can see, I'm using my safety crux. Yeah, this was an absolute pig. Not my proudest moment, but we got there in the end. Just taking off the old valve and putting a angled metal one in. And putting the tyre back on. Making sure it's in the right direction. Again, not proud of this. But I got the job done in the end. A few swear words were thrown. Locked tight on the bolts, put the disc back on. Bolt it all back up nicely. And I think I'm going to take the rear off and get someone else to do that. So I will jump back then when the rear has all been done. Not by me. Actually, I had second thoughts. I slept on it. I ain't paying someone else to do it. I'm going to frickin' do it. And I've got a trick up my sleeve. To save you the pain, I've put a lovely backing track so you can enjoy me struggle. I mean, get the job done. Yeah, this weren't my finest moment, but I thought it was a good idea, but turns out it weren't. this bead has been on there since 2009, so I can see why it's stubborn. More struggling ahead. There is one thing you could say, I am definitely not a quitter. Blood, sweat and tears went into getting this piece of rubber off. I almost look professional here. Giving it a good old clean. And replacing the valve with a nice right angle one to make it easier to inflate. Time to put the new tyre on, bit of lube. Made the mistake of leaving this outside, so I had to use the heat gun to make it more malleable. Before you say anything, I didn't damage the wheel, it was already damaged, okay? Just maybe don't look at this part. But we got there in the end. Right, give that a good old clean on the swing arm and time to put this thing back on. Put the brake bracket around the bloody wrong way, so I take it out again. There we go, all done. Now let's take this bike for a spin. Right, let's do this, people. Good old choke. Sounds absolutely wonderful. Yes, again, not my proudest moment. I forgot to turn the fuel tap to reserve because I have no fuel in the motorbike, because I realised I put a tiny bit in just to get it balanced and warmed up. So this is why the bike has just stalled, and now I realise and switch it to reserve. And here we go, back in action. Perhaps we're low on fuel. I can't really say much until I've got a full tank. At the minute it's telling me I'm empty, which it would make sense because I only put a tiny bit in just to get the carbs balanced. Running nice now. £16, I do. Hello, number 3 please. Lovely. Thank you, bye. Will it start? Of course she fucking starts. Oh, we've got over half a tank now. That's better. She just needs a good fucking run, mate. That's all she needs. She wants to go. I'm just going to take out the bypass. Oop, it's really hard to rev match. I haven't rid an inline 4 for a long time. Everything's brand new. All the carbs have been rebuilt, all been balanced, set up. There's no reason why this won't run sweet as a nut. It's comfortable. It's quite sporty, but you're not really leant over so much. It's quite a spacious bike. I would say a perfect blend of sports bike and comfort. So you can still throw it around the bends, but you're comfortable as well. Do you know what I mean? What I also done to this motorcycle is strip all the brakes. I didn't film it because I've done so many. To be honest with you, it takes me longer to do items on the bike when I'm filming as well. I just wanted to get it done. Throttle's nice and responsive. Just want to get through all the gears. Brakes are good. I can't feel any pulsing. Suspension's good. I've got no knocking. I've got the nice damping effects. It does feel good to ride again. I haven't ridden the bike for a long time. It needs a good blat. That's what it needs. A good blat. A good blatty from a fatty. Oh, it does feel really nice and nimble. That was partly down to the brand new tyres. There's just something about a carbureted bike. Carbureted? Carbed? I don't know. Carbonated? No, that's a fizzy drink, you dickhead. Oh my god!
I don't believe I just hit miles an hour then. Oh, this bike is amazing. I feel more connected with it because I worked on it. I took it apart. I made love to this bike. I'm in top gear now, in 6th gear. No whining from the gearbox. Oh, it's so smooth. I'm doing 80 miles an hour. You wouldn't fucking believe it. Oh, this is great. This is a great machine. They don't make them like this anymore. Buy one while you can. And this one's all nice and rebuilt. She's fast. Whoever buys this bike, mate, is going to love it. Right, that is the end of the video. Thank you for joining me on this. It took me a lot of time and a lot of man hour. Oh, I took absolute bollocks, didn't I? Man hours. Can't say that these days. It basically took a lot of friggin' time, but I've shortened it down. Oh, there's the f***ing idle. She's gritting a bit. Oh, that's better. She's purring. She's purring. Yeah, that's good. Well, we shall catch you on the next one. What it will be, I don't know. I sense a bike hunt coming. Catch you then.